All right, welcome everybody. We finally made it. We are at Integra, and we have a show for you today. We're not only going to be here in Integra, we're also going to Ireland. We're going to be talking about what they're doing in Ireland, how the design process works, how there's a collaboration between the two different companies, same company, two different components, one in Ireland, one here in the United States. So we're going to have Alan Fannin on the show in just a few moments. Jerry will be joining us in a few moments as well. So we're going to hop into this. But first, at Dave Cooper Live, we are always seeking out the best and the brightest in construction, and today is no different. We are bringing you the people and the processes that are building it better. Our guests and topics include experts in building systems, the building science, and the building tech and codes used to build it better. So with that said, we cannot do anything we do without our sponsors helping us out. So a big shout out to Steve Schrader and Hundegger. And we're going to show some of the Hundegger equipment today as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about Jerry. But we cannot travel around without our sponsors and showcase what we are doing at Integra and other facilities that we're going to be at. So with that said, I'm going to put these headsets on. We're going to go to Ireland right now. I'm going to bring in my good friend, Alan Fannin. Alan, how are you doing today?
Morning, Dave. Doing good. Good to see you this morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I just love the accent between you and Jerry. Other than I can't understand all the time, especially with the noise. So, Alan, you and I met years ago at a Building Systems Council event where you guys won a ton of awards, and I got to interview you. You didn't like being interviewed then, but you've kind of gotten used to me at this point. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do at Integra?
Okay, so I'm the head of technical at Integra, and I'm based here at the office in Ireland, in Monaghan, Ireland. This is where our main technical function is, so I'm based here.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about what's going on in Ireland and how this collaboration with the United States works, because it's funny, I've been in the buildings here. There's a whole lot of busy people here doing design and drawing, and the amount of young people you have is absolutely amazing. Tell us what you guys got going on over there. What are the people doing there? And then, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, so I suppose we're split basically into two main functions, design and engineering. I took a few photographs this morning just to show you the office and trying to get a little bit
photographs of me just standing around when I'm not looking.
Bit of an idea of what's happening there. So from our point of view, basically in Ireland, currently we've got 65 people here. 55 of those are made up of the technical department, which I look after. And that's split between design and engineering. So what we have on our side is a main split on the dealing with the customer end of things. So design face the customer, and they deal with the issues and queries that are raised on the plans as they come into us. And they work out and they deal with all the integration issues that we're looking for. So from our point of view, we put a huge amount of effort into the front end process so that we can basically do all the integration, check for all the issues that come up as we go through the drawings, and then we produce different drawings as part of that process that allows us to control the process from when we start until right through until the building's completed on site. So we're producing setting out drawings and hardware layouts to allow the concrete team to put the correct foundations in, and then we follow on from there with the modelling of the building. So the design team deal with all that front end integration, and it's the front end of our FEOS process, as we call it. So an important part of that. Then on the other side of that, then we get into the engineering side of it, and the engineering team then basically take that from that start point where we produce those layouts for site, and they actually start to model this building and start to work through all those structural details, start to walk through all that information, and begin the process of constructing that digital twin, as we call it. So it's the process of engineering the building, doing the modeling so that we virtually construct this building on our screens before we cut a strip of timber.
Showing in the inside of the office and all the busy people that are working there, it's quite interesting because I was seeing that same profile of people working here. I mean, there's just as many people over here that it appears to be in your office. And you hit on a very important thing, and that is that digital twin. That's that 3D BIM technology that allows you to be super accurate. And with that accuracy, because I asked you, I said, do you have change orders? And you said, what's a change order? So how important is that front end process to the field and how everything goes together?
A lot of the work that we do is about finding problems. It's about spotting the mistakes before they happen. It's about checking all of those things that I guess get worked out over multiple different constructions on site if it's been stick built. So there's a huge amount of effort put in on our side. We're very lucky that we have a lot of experience here from the offsite industry in Europe, where we've guys working here that have over 20 years experience dealing with offsite construction and dealing with the types of issues that we're going to come across as we begin to create the type of information that drives that factory behind you. So there's a huge importance on our side to get the details right, obviously to model it correctly, but there's a massive amount of information produced here that ultimately ends up downloaded directly to the machine from the factory floor behind you there. So it's very important to us that we get the thing right. It offers huge benefits then upstream from us then, where we're looking to smooth the process right through the buildings completely on site. So all the time looking for ways of improving the efficiency, improving the details, making things happen smoother, better, safer all the time.
Yep. And I also noticed in the photos as well, you have a lot of women, not only in your photos over in Ireland, but even walking through the facility here. You have a large workforce of women here, women in construction. How important is that to you moving forward?
Hugely important. I mean, we're constantly recruiting here. So at the beginning of last year, we had 20 people in technical. We now have 55. So we've added 35 people during COVID, and during the restrictions that have been on from that point of view. So from our perspective, absolutely, we want to talk to everyone. We want, and some of the best designers we have are women, and that's a very, very important part of our team, and we want to continue that. So there's always a huge emphasis placed on making sure that we're recruiting the best people and attracting the best talent that we can get our hands on, because obviously from our point of view, that factory behind you doesn't work without the data that we produce. So there's a ramp up on this side that has to match it.
Right, for sure. In fact, I'm going to go back so everybody can see the factory. There's a lot of busy people behind me. So, Alan, what do you see as the future for where you guys are headed next? Is there any technology that you're looking at that you see coming forward from Entekra?
Yeah, we're always trying to push the envelope on our side in terms of the type of work that we're doing and the way that we use software. I mean, we adopted laser scanning and 3D scanning very early on in the process because of the fact that we're 6,000 miles away from our sites and from those foundations that are being poured. We want to make sure that we're using technology to its best advantage at all times. So stuff that we're looking at now, things around computer vision to identify differences between drawings and what's being made on the factory floor. There's projects ongoing with that at the moment. We've also looked at augmented reality, different things that we're looking at to see, okay, where can we go next? The way that we're wired is to be the best in the business of what we do, and we won't do that if we're sitting back waiting on somebody else to come up with the ideas. So from our point of view, it's a continuous drive to improve, continuous drive to do better our product and to improve the way that we operate all the time.
Yeah, and you're continually improving. Even here, I know there's new machines getting ready to come online. Jerry's going to join us in a few moments, and we're going to talk about that and walk the line and walk the production floor a little bit and really get into where this is going. Alan, I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. And I also think the culture that you and the others here are driving forward is fabulous. Just walking around here, getting to know you and Jerry and a lot of the team members on the team. Culture has played a big role in that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we're very mindful of here. And on the US side as well. I know from our perspective here in Monaghan, what we want is a culture that people are out to help each other. It's very much a team environment. It's something that we cherish inside here, where we know that when we bring somebody new on, and we can't get people that have all the experience that we need when we take them on all the time. So a lot of the time we have to depend on ourselves, training them up, bringing these individuals from maybe being a graduate engineer or whatever that is, right through to being somebody that's capable of designing these buildings the way that we do. What we do is highly complex, and it needs a lot of attention to detail, and it needs a steady process to take it through the system. But we have to be there for each other while we're growing at the rate that we're growing. Team is the top thing. That's the most important thing that we have to do. the culture here is nobody's afraid to ask a question, nobody's afraid to answer a question, and we want people here to take responsibility for what they're doing and not be afraid to admit if they need the help or they need something, they need a hand in or something. So it's very much one for all and all for one on this side, just to be able to progress the way that we're going at the speed that we're going and the changes that we're making. It's very important.
It is very important. So the culture is super important. How do you teach innovation to the people that are coming in, right? Because you're always looking forward. And having people that are looking forward with you is always so important. How do you teach that innovation to the younger generation coming in?
Maybe that's a tough question. From our point of view, we're always trying to encourage people to be innovative in their own way that they operate. It's getting them to think openly about things and communicate and collaborate with each other. To encourage that at all times. I think if you create the right environment, it happens, but it's difficult to get it to happen without having the right structures in place. And that's why, from our point of view, having an open, honest working relationship with the rest of the team is hugely important to that. I mean, we operate a traineeship here as well, so we take 16 people onto a traineeship every year that works in partnership with our local education board and third level college. That's, again, another important part for us to recognise the fact that we don't have the skill sets potentially easily recruited here. We have to build them and we have to train them. So that traineeship programme runs every year. We're recruiting for that at the moment again. This year it's our 4th year of running the programme. It's been very successful for us so far. It's allowed us the opportunity to spend 3 months with those people that run that traineeship on our side, where they work placement in the company as well. So they get to savor what we're doing and get to see a little bit behind the scenes about what Integra's about. And it's a good start for them even when they apply for a full-time position now.
I knew once I got you talking, you'd go and go and go. I mean, you guys have so much great stuff going on. Alan, listen, I really appreciate you taking some time. You're in Ireland, so I'm sure it's a little bit later in the day. You're probably looking forward to that Guinness and maybe some dinner with your family. So I'm going to let you go. We're going to bring Jerry into the conversation, and here he comes now. Alan, thanks so much. Here, wave to Jerry real quick.
Hey, Alan.
He's working hard late at night.
Greetings back in the Emerald Isle.
Yeah, back in the Emerald. All right, Alan, thank you so much. All right, Jerry.
Dave, you finally got here.
Finally got here, right? How long? I mean, it's been a while. We've been talking about doing this.
For a few years.
So, Jerry, you're one of the biggest advocates for the offsite space. You're one of the biggest advocates I know for, bringing innovation, thinking differently, and not doing things the same way we've always done them. And I think that's such a big part of how we're moving forward right now. Talk to us a little bit about what you got going on here at Integra, and then we're going to go for a walk. But tell us where the vision came from.
The vision goes back 50 years in many ways. I mean, my dad, who passed away just last year, he'd been at it from he was a carpenter back in Ireland in those days and emigrated to the United States, discovered stick framing, wood frame homes in the United States, because he'd never, in Ireland all homes were built out of concrete. So he went to the United States, discovers this wood frame homes, brings it back to Ireland, but it never crossed his mind not to do it in a factory. So he started the first factory in 1963 or 1964 that nearly created an industry. He didn't create a company, he created an industry in Ireland. And now there's thousands of people employed in that industry. And then he sold out of that company. We started another one called Century Homes in 1990. And that went on to become the largest offsite company in Europe.
Yeah.
And then we sold that in 2005 to Kingspan. And I moved to the US. And prior to that, I had actually been looking at the US as a potential market. And moved here, and with the market was equal because of the recession, but always wanted to try to bring this modern methods of construction, we call it, to the US market. So in late 2017, we kicked the whole thing off and said, okay, let's see, can we actually bring what we do in Europe to the US market?
And here you are.
Here we are.
Here you are. And this is actually the second plant, yes?
This is the second plant. Yeah, we have 2 plants here in California.
Yeah.
One 10 miles up the road in Ripon, and this larger plant here. Well, the one in Ripon is the original one. That's the one where we had the proof of concept, where we actually said, okay, let's test this out to prove to ourselves and to the customer base that we could do what we said we could do. Now, we knew we could do because we've been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
But you know, people don't believe it when you say you can do it. So,
Well, that's exactly it.
we had to prove it.
You know, one of the reasons we're here is because of Hundegger sponsored us to come to today's show, and having Hundegger and Steve Schrader, and I'm gonna make sure we put their stuff up here. I just want to show this. Like, I mean, they were an integral part of your first plant. And Juan, if you could play that video for us. They were an integral part of the first plant that you did here, and you're actually getting ready to bring some more of their equipment into this manufacturing.
Hundegger was really the first automated saw that we actually purchased in this market, and that's because of the reputation of Hundegger worldwide. I mean, we were very familiar with it from Europe. Everybody in Europe, I would go as far as to say worldwide, Hundegger is the backbone of the offsite industry. Everybody that's into any form of automated manufacturing in terms of offsite in Europe uses Hundegger. So,
and how precise are these saws? I know I've been seeing them, but in your words, I mean, this is surgical. This is
millimeter tolerance.
Yeah.
And this is literally down to we are down to automotive and we say aircraft tolerances. It's that certainly that's what we work to. That's what we work on the basis that precision improves performance. And so rather than actually saying, oh, you've got a tolerance level to allow you to do things a little bit less quality, that makes it easier, we work the other way. We say, actually, the more precise you make it, the higher the quality, the better the productivity. Hundegger's an integral part of being able to do that.
Well, hey, right on the doors when you walk in, the profit's in the process, right?
That is correct.
And we're going to get into that a little bit and how you quantify that process. But, you know, big shout out. Really want to thank Hundegger for everything they're doing. Steve Schrader is the rep for Hundegger. He's been in this business for a long time. So thank you, Steve. And we're going to keep showcasing what you guys are doing out there as well.
You can't go wrong with the Hundegger.
You can't, right? And they got great colors to them, too. All right, so we're going to take a walk through the factory. But first, everybody, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, because that's where the young people are. And also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is being watched 1,400 hours every 28 days right now.
Wow.
1,400 hours of our content being consumed.
Even since we put this up, the amount of emails and stuff that I got around the world of people saying, I want to see this and can we get a copy of it? Your reach, Dave, is...
It is global now.
It's global.
It is amazing.
I want to say this, that Jeff Bezos brought it up on the rocket this morning. Maybe it's actually out of this world. But
maybe he might be up there watching it right now. Wouldn't that be awesome? Jeff, if you're listening, and I always say to Elon Musk too, your car should be charging our houses, not our houses charging your cars. All right, so Jerry, let's walk through the plant here, and let's see what we have going on. So let's walk around this way. So, Jerry, how many lines do you have set up here right now?
So we have three, this position parts here, we have three external automated wall lines here. We have two automated internal wall lines beside it. Okay. And then we have door production and stair production and what we call special production further over that direction.
Further over that way.
Yeah. And then in Ripon, which is 10 miles up the road, is where we do the vast majority of our prefabricated floor panel production. Yeah. So that's where the Hundegger saw is.
Got it, right. And then you're going to have one of those here soon as well. So right now we're going to walk all the way out to the end here because that's where it all starts. It all starts with, you know, the material. Where's the material coming from and how much of that you can control, especially in today's market.
See, that's why, Dave, when we set this up, we had to find a way of distinguishing ourselves from other, what I'd say, component manufacturing industries by calling ourselves a fully integrated off-site solution. I think a lot of people get confused by the word integrated, and they think that means they're putting wiring or plumbing into the walls. No, what we mean by integrated is we control our destiny. Right? We actually get involved and we look at the whole building. So we're actually looking at all aspects of it, from even the things that we don't have involvement in, but we want to control. For example, the plumbing, the electrical, where does it go? The HVAC, how can we help those trades? Right down to the material itself. Not only do we want to control the supply of the material and not be at the mercy of others, we also want to control the quality of the material. Yeah. I mean, quality. I mean, I say this, and I can't overstate it. Quality is one of the biggest benefits that offsite construction brings to the market, and we are obsessed with quality. Absolutely obsessed. So that means we have to go back to the lumber and the lumber sourcing. Right. So we have to make sure we've got it. And we've got to make sure we've got the highest quality material that's available. And that's our starting point.
But that all comes down to, you're not messing with it on site. It goes together the way it's supposed to go together.
Correct.
So we're going to walk over here. We'll get washed out, but maybe you can pan that way just for a second and show. But what we're looking out there, and I know he's going to mess with the camera to get the light. It's hot here in California and sunny, but you have a ton of lumber outside here. Talk to us about what you got going on, and talk to us about, Entekra also has a truss manufacturing facility. So let's talk about that a little bit.
So I know the camera might not be able to see it because of the sunlight, but if you look out there at the moment, you're going to see millions of dollars worth of lumber that's covered in plastic.
It looks like a Freightliner ship coming from Ireland.
Absolutely.
There's so many pods of lumber.
But that's how much we turn, how much we're doing it. But that lumber is all covered in plastic, which is your indicator. The first thing is it's dry. We only use kiln-dried material for the structural elements of the building. That is unusual in the California market, which is typically known as a green Doug fir market. We are not a green Doug fir company. We are a kiln-dried company. And that's for many reasons. I mean, one goes back to our history out of Ireland and Europe, where wet timber cannot be used in a building.
Right,
Full stop,
right.
because why would you lock wetness into a wall or hope that it's dried out by the time you close it in? So it's just not allowed in Europe. So we grew up with that. But also on top of that is, when you buy green lumber, it may dry out, but the problem is it's uncontrolled drying. That's when you get your warp and your twist, which again affects the quality.
Yeah.
But on top of that, in addition to that, all our material is premium grade studs. So we go not alone to green, we go to premium.
Right.
So, and I'll show you this as we walk through, but when you see the quality of our lumber, it'll show you how obsessed we are. And we're prepared to take the hit on the additional cost of that to get a better quality product.
Well, let's start off with what we have going on here, because it's just not the lumber. It's what you do with the lumber that's super, super important on everything. So, what are we looking at on the bins here?
Well, you'll see, like, for example, when you were talking to Alan there in the office, he said we produce a digital twin of every single building that we produce. It doesn't matter whether it's a single family, 2-story, 3-story, or a multi-family 4 or 5-story building. We have that building built before it's ever built.
Yeah.
So,
talk to me about what the coding is here.
So what we have here, that's the customer number. So you can't tell, but that's his customer number. That's the lot number. The OD means it's opposite drawing. So when we produce the buildings, they can either be what we call as drawing or the opposite hand. So that's telling you what it is. It's telling you the dimension of it. It's telling you this is a windowsill. It's telling you the type of the material, and it's telling you the wall panel that it's going into.
And we're going to show that on the line as it goes further.
But
I think I got it off this one, right?
I'd like to show you this. For example, this is probably a better. I mean, look at that. When you were talking there about the precision cuts, that's the level that we're going to. That fits in a certain place, and what you'll see here is we have all of this information here, but we also have a part number.
Yeah.
That's the part number for that house.
For the house.
Yeah, it goes in that location in that house. It can't go anywhere else.
Just like any other product that's built.
That's correct.
Yeah. And then that's all getting fed down this line here. So, Chris, why don't we just scan over this way, show where this line is going, right? Because what do they have going on over here?
So what you see over here now is the rough openings or the subcomponent elements of the walls being produced. They're being produced in sequence and in order to meet the production control system that's driving the frame tech, which is the automated framing position.
Right.
So they know exactly, the guys in the frame tech know exactly what's coming to them, because the guys here have been fed the information in order for them to make it, to get the most efficient production possible.
So all of this stuff, if I'm understanding you right, is already in the order it needs to be. The machine's assembling it the whole way down the line.
That's correct. Everything is. Everything. That's internal walls, external walls, stairs, floors, everything. We have every. When I say that we can tell you how many nails are in the building, we can tell you how many nails are in the building before it's ever built.
Right.
Before you ever go to the other side.
Sure.
It's already there in the file. Yeah.
I love it. All right. So let's talk again. So we have. Tell me how the lines are set up, because we got floors, we got walls, and we have.
If we have external walls, interior, exterior, because the difference to us is in California, which is unusual, I suppose, to even other people in the United States. In California, they don't necessarily put sheathing on all the external walls.
Right.
We do, because first of all, it's a higher quality building, brings a whole lot of other benefits, but also it's a FEMA recommendation that in an earthquake zone, you should actually shear all your walls. So we do as standard.
Right.
And again, it puts us at a competitive disadvantage in terms of cost, But that's what we do, because I refuse, and this is the ethos of the company, we refuse to sell a product that's low quality. Absolutely refuse. Will not do it. I would rather not be in business than sell an under quality product. So we build. People talk about building to code, and I think this is an interesting thing. People say, "Oh, it's built to code." How would you like it if you walked into your doctor's office and the sign above the door said, "I operate to code," which means I operate to the lowest legally
I'm going to do the
permissible
bare
standard.
minimum to
The
fix
bare
it.
minimum, yeah. This aircraft I'm getting on is built to code, meaning this aircraft is built to the lowest legally permissible standard. So why builders go around saying, as if it's a badge of honor, say, "I built the code"? No. We build beyond code.
Right.
That's our ethos. We
That's
build
it,
beyond
yeah.
code.
So with that, we're going to get into this, everybody. We're not only going to talk about the process here. We're going to talk about where the value of off-site construction is, and that plays a big part of it. We're also going to talk about, what do we want people to ask, right? How do you learn how to do this? We're going to get into the cost behind what it takes to set up an operation like this and where that return and value comes in. So stay on the journey with us as we walk through, because we're going to start showing you the quality of some of this lumber here. So why don't we, let's go a little bit further back here, Jerry. Talk to us what's happening on the left and right side as we go down.
So what we have here is, again, on this is line one. So line one, you can see all the subcomponents stacked up, ready to go to be entered into the wall. So they're just in time. They're already made ahead. He's ready to pull
Same
them
as the line that we just saw on the other side, just interior,
That's
exterior.
it. Over here, what you have behind you is what we call
On this side here.
this side over here is the 520. Now this saw in itself is fully automated again. Alan, who we're speaking to in Ireland, sends the CNC file from the digital twin to this piece of equipment. It cuts every single element in the house that's 2x4, 2x6, or 2x8 that's non-standard in length. It's got its bunks here. Hopefully we'll see the picker now maybe come to pick it up. It picks up whatever it needs.
So what you're telling me is this is all laid out for the picker to grab it and carry it over.
That's correct. It'll pick it up, drop it over. I mean, there's no tape measures or such.
On the other side, into the saw.
Yeah, it just goes into the operator on the saw is not determining what he cuts, or he's not determining the length of it.
Yep.
He's basically making sure the machine just keeps running. That file has been sent from 6,000 miles away.
Got it.
To drive that
we got
saw.
a truck coming through here. There you go. All right, we're good. We'll keep walking down here, get out of their way. It's a busy place. You got a lot going on here.
Well, actually, just so you know, we put out 9.2 units yesterday.
How many units?
9.2.
9.2 units out the door.
Yes.
And what does a unit mean?
The unit is 2,500 square feet of building. That doesn't include the garages. You should say it's about 3,000 square feet to include the garage.
Yeah.
We classify a unit as 2,500 square feet of buildable, of living area. We put out 9.2 yesterday.
Wow. So, I mean, the production is real and the process is real.
Absolutely. I mean, the builders are adopting it. This is the point I want to get to, is we can talk about later, is the builders are adopting the process.
Right.
We got, interesting, on Thursday, a builder we started with in January gave us his third development. Third one on Friday. That's so there's the return customers.
Right. Third development. Hey, let's pan over here just for a second. We're not going to walk down here, but I just want to show. All right, so we have some people working on some tables here. What do we got going on there?
Same thing. What they're doing is a subcomponent element into the internal walls.
So let's talk about what a subcomponent is. It's a special component. That's a special order?
Yeah, no, it's just the rough opening.
Just the rough
It's just the rough opening that goes in. So when the machine gets it, it knows where everything is in it. They make that up in advance. You could go to robotics and that would probably be the next stage on the rough. But the subcomponent is all the elements were all pre-cut off the CNC file. It's only an assembly process. There's no cutting or measuring. Just
getting back to what you said with Alan Bannon over in Ireland, when he was showing us in that office, it looks like NASA when you walk in your office.
Yeah.
I mean, you got computer screens everywhere. We're going to show this.
Yeah, we see
But
here.
that data is so important.
So over here is the frame tech. So this is producing all of the walls.
Yeah.
But there's no marking of the top and bottom plate. Actually, you can just see.
So there's no markings on this at all. So it's not labeled. The computer just knows exactly what to do, where to nail, and how to
The
nail.
computer moves the top and bottom plate automatically to the next stud location and tells the operator from the computer what he is to put in there. He just drops into position. It will nail it depending whether it needs to put 3 nails in, 4 nails, whatever it needs. It nails it, and then it moves it to the next location. And he
And it's
drops
all
it
automated.
on. Yeah,
And it's all paid stuff. So if somebody opens the door, it shuts down.
You step in there, you'll see here.
Right.
You put your hand in there, it'll shut the line down.
I don't know if everybody's seen it, but there are computer screens everywhere as we walk through here. I mean, there's very little paper. There's some, but it's very little.
Well, actually, there'll be a lot less now. By the end of, I'd say by the end of September, there'll be virtually none. Because one of the things that COVID fought it out on was the introduction of our fully computerized manufacturing control system. That because we couldn't get the technicians over from Europe, that's all now starting to ease up. So we're now starting to put that fully implemented. When that's fully implemented, there will be no paper on this.
No paper.
Completely computer screens.
Right. So when I say no paper, Jerry, can we get some potato chips out of that?
No, that one actually doesn't have
Out of the vending machine here. You know, I just noticed this. You actually have a vending machine for the tools.
Yes.
And this is a great way of tracking what you have.
Correct.
Like the nails, you know how many nails.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
when people need something, they got to come here and plug it in.
It's all about data. It's all about the information. It's not about hearsay. It's all about the data.
I wanted some potato chips and I figured we'd stop and have a good chat. Okay. So that, from an automation standpoint, the way all this is moving, if I'm understanding correctly, everything out those doors, it's all these doors,
what you
is
have,
bringing in the material and it's running this way.
What you have is raw material coming into putting up, we have our rail store, comes into this door. It's a straight line process out the finished goods out that door.
Right.
So there's no turning around.
Yeah,
it's
so
one long process.
For you that are watching out there, all those doors you see in the background, we have the same thing on the other side. Everything comes in there and it's so efficient, depending on whether it's an internal wall, external wall, floor. It goes down the line, gets loaded on a truck in the order. This is really important. To where it's on the job site, they pick from the top because that's the one they need.
It's in the reverse order.
Yeah.
So like you can see here, for example, this again is an important point here. Is you'll see here that our OSB is cut automatically beforehand before it ever gets to these walls. So we have every sheet pre-cut.
Yeah.
So typically what we do is we load that into our Sawtech.
Right.
We load about 6 houses at a time, and we can get to 94% efficiency on our OSB cutting. Right. Which means that in many ways we don't have all that waste that's going on. So it's another benefit of offset construction, and it allows us then to sheet our walls more economically than others. So we can buy it better, and we can actually fix it better.
Right.
So there's the efficiency allowing you to build a better product for no penalty in cost.
Amazing. So if we actually, let's walk over this way, Gary. So they're going to take the panels here, we'll just stop right here. The panels here are already pre-cut.
Right.
They just lay them out, tack them
in 4 corners.
and this is going to come across to this machine here.
Now that is squared it. Remember, so what you have there, you have clamping and
Can we
squaring.
walk over here?
Yeah.
So
you have clamping and squaring both down here and up
So
here.
it takes the racking out of the wall before
right.
it's nailed. It's
Before it's-
perfectly square.
Right. And then they tack it.
Yeah.
And then when it goes down this line, this is called the wall tech, it gets squared again, even though you have all this squared
on the wall
beforehand.
tech line here.
Yeah, it's re-squared.
Got it.
So it's got a double checking function, so to speak, before it ever gets actually nailed.
Right. And that's what you're hearing hammering on the background.
all the wall tech
because
all the way
we
up.
have quite a few of these machines in here.
Well, you might see one of these now get done as it comes down.
Well, let's keep walking around. I'm sure we'll grab it as
By
it
the
comes in.
time we get around to the other side, we'll probably see it.
Yeah, for sure. Jerry, there's a lot of women on the floor here and inside. You know, do you know what your workforce is?
No, what I can tell you is I don't track it in terms of what percentage male and female. What I'm looking for is a good worker. It doesn't matter to us whether they're male or female. If they're good and they're willing to do the job, then we'll employ them.
I love that. That's right.
So I don't have this thing about I just say who's a good worker. Actually, you're going to see here, Dave, for example.
Yeah, here it comes if we want to show it. Come on over here. Right. So that'll slide down so we stay out of the way of it. So it knows exactly where the studs are.
Not only does it know exactly where the studs are, it knows the exact nailing pattern. That's been taken directly from the files that Alan has produced, which has been taken from the engineer's calculations. So whatever it is, 2-inch centers, 3-inch centers, staggered pattern, you name it, it's going to do it.
Right.
It's going to be precise. So if we say it's a 6-inch nailing pattern, it'll be 6 inches. If it's 2 inches, it'll be 2 inches. We know exactly how many nails are actually in it.
Right.
I mean, that's, again, how does on-site compete with that?
Well, you can't.
But look, if you look here, Look at that. Look at that
The
nail
nail
pattern.
pattern. Perfect.
I mean, that is, and there's the quality control check, right? So before this can get lifted off and put in the line, it has to be rechecked again.
Yeah. Before.
Yeah.
Well, I see them. They lift them, put them up on these
Yes,
here.
and they check
before
again.
they go out, and they check it on the way out the door,
Yeah.
for sure. All right.
Now, you think of the amount of quality control checks we have in here that, they rely on the site to do it afterwards, which again is time lost.
Yeah,
We're all about time saving.
sure.
Do it in advance.
Right.
Solve the problem before you have one.
So let's get back to where we started. Let's talk about some of the details on how do we drive this forward. How do you take all of this automation? Because this is an investment, and how do you put it to work to where it brings a return on the value? And we talk about the profits in the process, and that's I understand where we're going to go. But I mean, this is really impressive. What are we? 200,000 square feet?
Yeah, approximately 200,000 square feet.
Just in this
Just
manufacturing.
in this building, and then we have another 40,000 square feet in the other buildings.
Yep, I saw that coming down the road. And then you're also building your trusses.
Yes, we own 50% of a truss plant, so we're in control of our own truss production. So we have, again, in California at the moment, one of the biggest problems that framers have is they can't get access to trusses. They can get their building up and great, but they can't get trusses.
Yeah.
This goes back to this thing about being integrated. Another benefit of offsite construction, we control our destiny.
He goes one of those walls now.
Yeah. We control our destiny, which means we help the builder control his destiny, which is what it's all about.
Yeah.
So
let's come back over here if you don't mind. And all right, so we're back on this in front. It's impressive. As soon as we got here, you got to have hard toe shoes, right? Safety's a big important. It's no joke, and it should be number one on everything that you're doing here, because then everybody knows you care, for one. And two, there's a lot of moving parts going on in here. But also, the cleanliness of the plant is another big key. People love coming to work here, just from the few that I've spoken to.
yes, I mean but again, it's sort of an outcome of the type of automation that we have as well, and the pre-planning and the pre-production of the items that we're able to control the amount of waste in the business, which then helps safety and it helps the cleanliness of the factory. So they almost all merge into one, and one begets the other. So that is part of, again, another benefit that offsite brings.
Right. So let's talk about this a little bit. Let's talk about workforce or process and how those two come together. Can you have one without the other?
Well, I mean, my view on that. I've been saying this a long time about the workforce development in the US,
Right.
and I think really this is the future of construction. I mean, yesterday we had the report from the NAR that said the United States is underbuilt somewhere between 5 million and 5.7 million homes, and yet we are 400,000 people short to build the required homes that we have, and that number is increasing. So we've got to get away from the point of thinking that you're sort of going to miraculously go out there and just take 400,000, get 400,000 young people to come into the industry when they actually don't want to come into it. And people are going around with this false hood in their head thinking, well, they're not coming in because we don't have trade schools. I hit the reminder, the reason why we don't have trade schools is because there aren't enough people to fill them. And I know people can't get that in their head, but that's the truth. The industry has fallen so far behind in terms of its attractiveness to young people that from that alone perspective, you got to do this. I mean, look at the age of the people we have working for us. Even in our office, in Ireland, everywhere, people get excited about this kind of construction because of the technology and because they see it as modern and advanced and forward thinking.
Right.
You're not going to get a millennium, 18, 19, 20, 25-year-old come into an industry where he says these guys don't want to change. They want to stay where they were. The world isn't that way anymore. Like the car industry of the 60s and 70s went through a similar problem. And yet they changed because they found out they faced an insurmountable problem with competition from Europe and from Japan. And they had to change everything that they did. And they changed the process about how they built the cars. In many ways, we're not facing external competition from overseas, but we are facing the problem of affordability and a number of houses for the people who are citizens who live here. We can't keep doing what we're doing. To use that expression that Einstein said, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten, right? And that's what we keep doing. And then every year, the building industry complains about the fact that they don't have enough people.
So how do we do that though? How do we teach innovation? How do we grab the young people and bring them in? Because we can talk amongst ourselves all the time, and we're really good at it, as you know. What are we going to do to actually make this change happen?
I would say that the first thing starts at the top of all of the national home builders. You've got to make your division presidents responsible for innovation and encourage them to innovate.
Yeah.
That is because there's a clear distinction I can see between the companies that we deal with, where there's clear drive at the top for innovation and improvement and modern technology. And then there's other ones who clearly don't want to change.
Yeah.
In fact, they just want to sort of get to their retirement and say no. And you can see the distinction. But if you can breed this culture and environment of innovation, then you're going to attract people into your building organizations, and you're going to get them to want to use a system like this, because you still have this inertia that has to be changed.
Right.
But it does start at the leadership level of the construction industry.
Yeah, it does start at the leadership level. All right, everybody, listen, if you're just tuning in, we are just getting started. We're not even close to done yet, Jerry. Jerry's taking off the whole day. We're going to spend it out here. Come on into the screen and we'll post it. So, please hit that like and share button. If you missed any part of this, you can go back to our YouTube channel and check that out as well. If you have a question, put a Q in front of your question. We will get to it. Jen's going to flash all the people that are saying hello up on the screen. So we appreciate all of you out there supporting us and supporting change in our industry.
Absolutely.
And that's really what we need. We have a lot of universities joining us today.
Yeah, and I want to say to everybody as well, and I genuinely mean this, is thank you to everybody who has liked and commented and supported what we've been doing in terms of promoting the offsite industry, because I hope that people also realize, whilst I post a lot, I am trying to promote the industry as a whole. And I mean, just the fact that people support me gives me encouragement to continue on doing that. So very much like you're doing as well. Although I'm running an individual business here, I very much see this as a way to help construction worldwide, but so it's particularly in the US.
Yeah, no, thank you. And we are going to bring this industry together. If I have my way, if I have my way, we're not going to be siloed. We're going to be talking to panelization, modular, SIPs, concrete. We should all be working together and talking and collaborating as one.
Because actually, think about it. What we should be just saying is, what's the problem? The problem is you can't build a house more affordably. It's not, I want to compete, panelized against modular, against concrete. Actually, it should be, how do we make all of these things more efficient with a better process to improve homes so that more Americans can actually afford them? That's what we should be looking at. Not running down panelization or modular or anything. Instead, actually, how do we get our people into homes? Right? That's the key. That's
the key. And that's the problem we're solving.
Yes.
Like any industry that comes to market, what is the problem you're solving? And that's a huge problem. And here's what I say all the time. If we had it figured out, we wouldn't be in the problem to win. And that's the problem, and that's what we're going through. All right, Jerry, let's keep going on this here. How do the economics behind a facility like this? There's millions and millions of dollars into something like this. When you got into it, you had some history in Ireland with the process and how it works. How does somebody out there say, Jerry, I'm interested in this, but how do I quantify the economics of doing this?
I suppose that's the $64 million question. I think, how do I put this? I think part of the problem, this is where it's a chicken and egg game.
Yeah.
Because people will always tell you, well, if you look at building a plant like this and producing your product, it's always going to be more expensive than stick framing it on site. They're always going to tell you that. And we don't put cheap materials into our buildings. We actually go the other way.
Right.
But people are focusing on the wrong thing. It's about the process. So the hardest job is getting your own head around the fact that I can go to my customer or the potential customer and get them to understand that the process improvement is what will drive their profit. And therefore it's worth paying the same or a little bit more for this product to allow me to improve my process on site. But this is where a lot of people enter the industry can't get their head around it. They think it's about trying to drive the cost of this below the cost of stick framing. It's not. It's about trying to improve the process so it's more efficient all around, and getting the builder to calculate that benefit and give you the kudos or the acknowledgement for doing it. And that's the hardest part. So you can go out and build the plant, but if you can't sell the concept and you can't sell the value, then you're never going to make it work. See, your hardest job is actually getting the customer to believe that there's value in what you do and that it will bring profitability to him.
Right.
And I think that's where we have been incredibly successful.
So I've been fortunate enough, without going to names, but to talk to some of the developers and framers that have worked for big developers, what they're doing out there, and they're not going back to framing again.
No.
They're not. I mean, these are big developers out there, and I think they're starting to learn the process, but it's not catching on like wildfire yet.
Yeah, well, I said,
and I shouldn't say that word here.
Yeah,
sure.
But I said earlier on. I mean, like on Thursday, a new customer from January has given us their third development.
Yeah.
We're on two other developments. They've given us the third one. What does that tell you? I mean, I sort of, this thing about builders and framers running down offsite who've never tried it. I mean, it's in all fairness, it's a bit of a nonsense.
Yeah.
How do you know? I mean, you used this expression before. How is it that you know so much about something you know so little about?
Right.
You stand up and pontificate and say it's more expensive, it's more this, it's more that, more the other. Have you ever used it? No. How do you know? Because the benefits that come are not coming through the physical product just alone. They're coming through the whole process of improvement in your organization. What that does to your productivity, performance, output, and quality. So it takes a bit of a while to get that message across to people.
But it does, and what a lot of people don't look at is the end-to-end. Their accounting departments aren't set up to quantify the process of what offsite truly means. All the way through warranty, move-in, quality assurance issues, legal suits because of the unskilled trade labor and mold issues. There's a whole lot to unpack if we get into this, and we're going to get into that down the road. So stay tuned for that conversation that we have in place. All right, Jerry, so looking at this as a whole, and looking at, you mentioned the consumer or the customer. How do we as an industry reach the consumer to ask for a better product? And I'm not just talking the builder. Why can't we be like the pharmaceutical industry and get the consumer to ask for a better product? Because why would anybody want to live in the house the way we used to build them?
Well, it's a great question. And in Ireland,
that's never good.
No, because in Ireland, that's exactly what we did. We marketed both ways.
Yeah.
We actually went push-pull. So we actually went and used every opportunity we could to market to the potential home buyer to tell them there's a better quality home out there and you should be looking for the builders who are building this way. And actually it worked. It actually did work. But then you've got to go with the builders. See, there's another angle to this, Dave. And this is the one that we're currently working on, and it is working. Builders love to market their product to the home buyer now based upon, look at the quality of my granite countertop or master bathroom upgrade versus the builder down the street. Right?
Yeah.
So to get the husband and wife to say, okay, we'll buy this one because of that one. Well, which is fine, and then you should be doing that. What we're saying now is, all other things being equal, if you both homes have got the same quality of granite countertop and master bedroom, how do you get them? How do you distinguish now? And we're saying is use the quality of the framing to get them to choose you over the other guy. So this is now starting to work. So we have 3 builders who are now currently working on marketing programs where they're actually using the quality of our product to help them outsell their competitors. In fact, we'll not get a show today, but we've currently just produced a brochure for one of our customers called Built Beyond Code. For them to hand out as part of their marketing, we have actually trained their sales staff to go look for when they do their framework, to show the quality of our lumber, to show the precision tightness of it, to show the fact that the building is fully seared. So we're now training the salespeople on the builder to say, look at this. So they're now, think of this now, when they get a customer who's thinking of buying them, they sell them everything else and say, oh, by the way, look at, plus, imagine what it's like for a potential home buyer to walk through a house and it's littered with waste and crap all over the ground.
Right.
What it says to them about how their homes get built. Our job sites are neat and tidy. So we're also getting them to create that image and brand awareness.
So how are we going to do that? How do we create this brand awareness in our industry? How do we reach the consumer? So we talk about this, I talk about it all the time too. The question is how do we do it? There's a natural change happening. Offsite is now here to stay, for sure, and it's growing. But how do we get that message out there to all of them that are watching us in here?
Well, if you're talking about the actual physical home buyer, I think the way is you have to start using more and more social media, as you said, even with Twitch. All the people out there, when you go to buy a new home today, the first place people are going to is onto the internet. they're going looking and they're going searching. So we've got to get information out to them. But equally important, we've got, as I said, we've got to give our customer, who's the builder, that information and explain to them how they can use it to their advantage. Because the minute they get one sale that they achieve, because the purchaser said to them, I'm buying this because this is a higher quality product, they're sold.
Yeah.
They're going to the next one. And like I said, I'll give you an example. I can't name I never name my customers, but I'll give you an example. So we're doing very, very expensive homes now in the Bay Area. These are multi-million dollar homes. And the people buying these are tech guys. And the builders told us, these guys have gone around the stick-built homes and they've had to take studs out of the buildings and replace them. Because the guy's going around, he's an engineer, but he's going, I'm not paying $1 million or $2 million for that. And they're taking it, they're walking around ours, and this thing is built to precision tolerances.
Yeah, with quality lumber and everything.
Yeah,
right.
So that purchaser, so they're now going and marketing this. They have a problem.
So it's a grassroots effort.
But here's the funny thing. So they have a problem because on their other sites they don't use us.
Right.
And so they have to be careful not to denigrate their product on the other side.
Right, because they're trying both sides.
But they tell us quite clearly, your product is way, way, way superior than what we're doing on the other side.
So with the product here, we're going to go to questions after this in just a moment. Can this process, because California is a unique market, right? There's a huge affordability crisis here. There is in other parts of the country as well. You got the wildfires here that, I mean, until you come out here, you just don't really get it. I mean, it's bad. Can this process be duplicated throughout other parts of the country?
Absolutely. No question. I mean, listen, remember, as hard as it is for people in the US to understand this, around the world, certainly in the northern hemisphere, Western world, where wood frame homes are built off-site.
Yeah.
And that's so, it doesn't matter whether you're building a home in Scandinavia, whether you're building a home in Central Europe, whether you're building a home in Ireland or the UK. It doesn't matter whether you're building a home in Japan, which we ship to.
Right.
They're all built off-site.
That's right.
I mean, the United States, for all the innovation, and today we had Jeff Bezos go into space. I mean, think about this.
And last week we had
Virgin
Atlantic going.
They're in space today.
Yeah.
Right. And we can't change the way we build homes.
Well, let's get into it. You got your famous quote. I use it all the time about the space shuttle and going up and putting on the what do they call it?
The space station.
The space station.
Yeah, the International Space Station. I mean,
can you imagine?
There's a set of drawings out there that says field verify. I mean, like when you saw the technology that Alan's using in Ireland, we don't need to field verify anything.
That's right.
We can digitally model absolutely, and if Jeff Bezos can put a space rocket up there today and take tourists on it, and we can build a space station, we can sure as hell build a house.
Oh, the technology is here. The young people have been using it for years.
Absolutely.
It's now coming into our industry. Gaming platforms are turning into construction platforms, so it's great. All right, let's say hello to everybody, but first, real quick, thank you again to Hundegger for all your support and having us out here. So we really appreciate you, Steve Schrader and Hundegger. Andrew Wilkinson. Good to see health and safety in the factory, Jerry. Andrew from the UK, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, Amy Diddler, great topic. Thanks, Dave Cooper, Jerry McCahey, thank you. Oh, don't know who this one is, it didn't pop up, but quality and efficiency is not expensive. It's priceless, and Tecra LLC does it best. I'm telling you, that's a very true comment. I see it everywhere.
I'm trying to figure who it is, but it's not one of us, I promise you.
Oh, no, it's Art Smone. Hey, Art, what's happening? Hi, Jerry. Great to finally see your engineering group in Ireland and your factory. Very impressive.
Hi, Art. Great to hear from you.
Andrew Seeley in the house, G-Pods. Great to tune in from Texas. Thanks, Team Cooper and Integra. We got a lot of friends, Jerry.
Most of these people I've never met in my life, but as I said to you, I thank them for the support and help they have, because I know these are the true innovators.
Yeah.
These guys, all of them are. I mean, every single one of them. They're actually out there thinking about how do I improve this industry for all of us and for all of the people who want to buy homes. So they're a big part of all of this.
Hey, no doubt. Even Andrew Seeley, he is in the field building his own new concept.
Right. I mean, these guys. I said there's. It's only July the 4th that just passed, and we had the American Revolution. We're now going through the next revolution.
That's right.
And these guys will be the true patriots in the years to come, because they help provide homes for Americans.
You're right. All right. I think I saw the Bare Naked Willie somewhere in there. Mark Willie was in the house. We got that to put up, Jen? There it is. Solve the problem before you have one. Great quote, Jerry McCahey. Gerard Jerry
Thanks,
McCahey.
Mark.
Does your mother call you Jerry or Gerard?
She calls me Gerard.
Yeah, I
She
can't.
never got around to Jerry.
When you're in trouble, Gerard.
Yeah. Well, it's usually Gerard Vincent.
Okay. Joe Hutchins, Splash. How you doing, Joe Rabea? Great work, Jerry McCahey.
Hey, Joel.
Gilbert Meyer. Perfect integration to automate and speed up the wood framing process. You can see that the result in quality and precision. Hats off, Jerry.
Well,
You
actually,
can't see it.
but I want to say this, and then people says, genuinely, it's not me. I mean, this is an incredibly experienced team of people. I mean, literally from, like, I'm lucky. I get to be the mouthpiece. I get to, but I mean, the guys who are driving this company, the guys back in Ireland, the guys that are here. I mean, the knowledge and experience that's behind them, and the commitment behind them to do what they do. They are the company. This is not one. This is not one person. This is a team of people who are literally driving an industry.
I mean, look behind. Well, right here, there's nobody at the moment, but yeah, I mean, there's a ton of people actually.
Yeah, no, they're all
line moves and
they're
they
all
move.
working together. You can see I know she's around, and Maya's around as well. You know, our process engineer. I mean, the young people here and the positions they have and the things that they're doing. It's mind-boggling. And yet people say we can't get young people to come into the industry. We can.
That's right, we can.
Right? We can.
All right, next question or comment or question. Chris Blankard, very smart controlling all of the components, floors, walls, and trusses. All right, Chris, thanks
That's
very much.
integration. That's integration.
From YouTube, if you're not a subscriber, you need to go and subscribe. You can watch all of this over and over and over again. All right, next one. Jerry North would love to help. Well, hey, reach out,
We
right?
love help. Yeah, we love
Depends
help.
on what you want to help with.
Yeah,
Reach
exactly,
out.
yeah.
Well, we can always use the help. Steve Burrows, the one, the only. What is Integra doing to get lower carbon materials into its supply chain, such as for insulation, DTE materials?
It's a good question, and it's from Steve's perspective, he'd be coming from a European perspective. A lot of this as well. In Europe, for example, when we were doing this before, we actually did the energy calculations for the builder, and we were very conscious of the carbon footprint, the materials that were being used, and we supplied them as part of the package. That's funny. Like what we're currently doing here today is still 10, 15 years behind what we were doing in Europe, because as an integrated provider, we were supplying so much more. So to answer Steve's question, we're doing what we can, what the market allows us to do at the moment, but we're very conscious that there's so much more we can do, and we will be doing as the years go forward. But it's this thing of having to bring the market forward step by step, and you know, some of the other manufacturers over here have tried to take a step too far. We'll take it in incremental steps here till the right moment arrives.
Right, and building on it.
Yeah.
Next question. Eric Holt, University of Denver. What's the business market segment breakdown between SFH and multifamily? So single family homes and multifamily.
At the moment, it's about 2/3, 1/3.
2/3, 1/3.
So we're two thirds single family, 1/3 multifamily, and there is a reason for that. And again, this is another discussion about, you talk about the economics of running a plant. There's no question about it. There's more money to be made for a manufacturer in multifamily construction. The problem about doing multifamily in a plant is you get lumpy production. So you get stop-start, which screws up your economics. When you're doing single family, you get constant repetition going through your factory.
As each phase of the development continues.
So the thing is to mix both of them, so you keep your factory always going, and then have these higher value projects you put in. But what you have in a lot of instances in the United States is guys who only specialize in doing offsite with regard to multifamily, because they can't get their head around the engineering side of the single family because of all of the changes. That's what our team in Ireland has the success and the secret of having done for 30 years.
Love it. All right, next question for Jerry McCahey. What is the cost compared to stick built in California?
So the answer to that question is how long is a piece of string? Like, for example, honestly, if I go to Fresno, it will be more expensive. If I go to San Francisco, I'll be cheaper. Right? So that's the answer, because it's all directly related to the labor costs on site. So if I go into an area that has high labor costs on site, I'm very competitive. If I go into an area that has cheap labor costs on site, I'm not competitive. So that's the honest answer. So there's large tranches of that whole coastal region of California we're very, very competitive.
So are we just talking the framing portion or the complete life cycle of a
Well,
project?
the problem, not the problem, is when builders look at it, they're going to add both up. They're going to say, what's the cost of the product from us? They're going to say, okay, what's the cost of erecting on site? But if our framing time on site is only 4 days as opposed to 15 days, then we save a lot of money. Also, when you look at, for example, what they call prevailing wage jobs, where there's a very set high wage rate on site, the more days we can take off that job, the more money we save the builder. So I want to answer this two ways. Actually, these are factual. So we're competing for a job at the moment in San Francisco that's prevailing wage. The framer who is looking at the job actually had a discussion with us because he thought he might use our system because he was told by the developer. He was told by the developer that we were $1 million cheaper than him to stick frame. I mean, that's his words back to us that the developer told him. Because we've eradicated so much of that high cost prevailing wage work on the site and are doing it in the factory. On another case, very close to here, we did I think it's spoke about this before. The builder gave us $300,000 bonus because we completed the building
On time.
Well, actually, ahead of what he could do at stick frame, and that brought forward his heads on beds, his revenue.
300,000.
So again, the question is a good question, but you have to understand the total economics.
That's exactly right. Total economics. All right, listen, everybody. We're at 5 after, so we have a few more minutes to go here. Tom Reddy. Great job, Jerry and Dave. Promotion of the offsite industry is exactly what we need. Safety, education, and precision drives success and profit. Whether you use wood and performance, whether you use wood, steel, or in some cases both, manufacturing offsite will drive successful change to the building industry.
Couldn't agree more.
Well said. Thank you. Oh, Will Lever, you had to write the long one, huh? You tested my ability. So, all right, here we go. U.S. education has put so much emphasis on kids attaining college education, which most graduates mean a liberal arts degree. It means changing the attitudes of our primary education providers. Schools are measuring their success on how many kids they can send to college, not measure how many kids succeed. That's a very good comment right there. Vocational education needs to be brought back into primary education and given the same prestige as a liberal arts. So, Will, I agree with this. And this is one of the things that we've been doing, Jerry, and I know you've seen it. We've been having professors on the show each month because we're trying to promote the universities, because the universities are now working with the local community, trade schools, high schools. Not everybody's made to go to college. We need the trades, and the trades are making more money than college graduates. And this is so true. So what Will Everett said, we need more of it to come back, but they need to see innovation. They need to see technology, or they're not coming.
That's correct. If they don't see that there's a future in something that they can relate to, they're not coming. But then take, for example, you're talking to Alan today. Like Alan runs a training course every year. It's a level 6 course in Ireland, where he takes people who have just left high school. And I said, okay, you don't need to go to college. You don't need to leave your hometown. You come here and we'll train you to be an expert in offsite construction, and we'll give you a career in this industry. And literally, we are full to the brim with young people coming in. So it's not a trade school. It's an offsite school that's teaching them the technology behind the modern way to construct. And they're joining us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Get back here just a little bit out of the way. All right, what software do you use for paperless production management?
Well, it's actually HSB CAD is what we use, and it's their production control system that's linked to that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that question. All right, Matthew Couch. Hi, Matt, with Volumod in Indianapolis. What's happening in Volumod? What is your secret sauce for employee retention? Oh, can I try and answer this?
Yeah, you go for that one.
I think it's the culture here. I think there's room for improvement and moving up. There's growth. There's automation. Everybody knows their job and where they stand, all the way down to safety. They come to work knowing that there's a future for them. That's my line on it.
And one final thing I think that there is.
I missed one?
No. Well, I think it's one what somebody said. It was actually, I think it was Lisa Render said. I noted in the post. She said it's that. I mean, I'm continuously doing this, building that philosophy that we are changing how America builds. In other words, it's a bigger mission. Right? We are out there literally. I sort of like to try to. It's not. I like to try to create this impression of we're the underdogs, fighting to turn win the war, the revolution.
Any given
the
Sunday,
change.
right?
Yeah, that's correct. Any given Sunday. Any given Sunday. We're out there to do that. We're on a bigger mission. It's not just about we're doing a house for this guy or that guy. We're literally out to try to change the way
We're going to
America
win the
does.
war one battle at a time.
Correct.
We may lose a few, but we'll
That's
win it
correct.
as we
That's
go.
correct. We'll win it. Well, the only thing about the Irish is we never give up.
Right.
Remember that.
I know. Hey, and also a quick, and I'm going to get to Mike here in 1 second. Another Irish quote that I didn't know is there are more Irish Medal of Honor winners, right, in this country. But maybe I don't know.
There are more Irish-born Medal of Honor winners than any other foreign citizen born anywhere else, and there are more Irish people of Irish descent than any other country of any descent. So on both grounds, the Irish have been awarded more medals of honor fighting for the United States than any other nation on the planet. And the single most awarded, decorated soldier ever in American history was Audie Murphy.
Yep.
Another Irishman of Irish descent.
Very
Very proud of my Irish roots.
I couldn't tell. We're proud of your Irish roots.
Well, I'm proud of what my Irish roots have done for the United States.
Yeah, that's right. And all the soldiers out there serve with
Yes,
them.
absolutely.
All right, Mike McCollum. Some of the headwinds that have prevented this important shift in home building are the forest products manufacturers, building materials distributors, pro dealers, retailers, and builders. They feel threatened in their old traditional channels to market. The education needs to go to them. Much of the needs to change significantly to support this transition. And Mike, you're right. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to sit on their hands for too long, and they're going to get run over. Just like what we're seeing with hemp and other products that are starting to make a move, they sat on their cards a little long on some of this stuff, in my opinion, and we're going to see new products always come.
I also say, Dave, is if you want to see, and it's very true even with Tetra, if you want to see how the off-site model is going to play out, look to Europe.
Yeah.
It's already been done. And this is, I'm not saying this is essentially won't happen, because also, if you want to see how it's going to play out, look to the car industry. You can stand on the beach and tell the tide to go out.
Right.
And for a period of time, it's going out. But when it starts to come around, you ain't turning it back.
Yeah, you're not getting in.
Yeah, and we're just on the turnaround here at this stage, so it's coming. But you can look to Europe and see, again, that point that was made there about the distributors and manufacturers, some of them got caught off guard because they did not see it coming.
Right.
Some of them did, and they protected themselves and they were able to get themselves out into the market and not be competitive. But there is definitely an issue there that needs to be resolved. And I think there's this Norman storming going on at the moment to try to find the level.
I agree with you. John Allen, we're writing books today. Thank you, everybody. This is wonderful that you're joining us. Thank you so much. Eventually, the ideal future would be panelization and component manufacturers to seamlessly work with modular manufacturers. For example, Integra can provide a modular manufacturer all the panels that they need and assemble into these modules for tight install, just like what car manufacturers are already doing.
Good point. Great point.
From a component standpoint, absolutely. The components industry could play a huge part in how we move forward. And quite honestly, modular manufacturers, in their own right, are just doing the simpler panelization process.
What I would say is, I'll say this to anybody out there, you're thinking of setting up a modular plant in California, you want to put it out there.
Yeah.
Imagine, we can give everything you need.
Well, that's it.
You just put your factory out there, and we can give you everything you need.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk about an easy way to get into modular construction in California. They'll keep the site in Tetra.
All right, so here you have it. We're going to build a manufacturing facility right out Jerry's back door here. I think he just gave away a free land lease to us.
I don't own the land.
Snake oil.
But having said that, I said, you think about all that what you saw this morning with Alan and all our guys in Ireland. You think about what we could do for a modular manufacturer. They set up a plant to actually work in conjunction with us.
Right.
It's a home run for them.
It is. So we're going to get to one last question here, comment, and then we're going to have to wrap up today. We're already at an hour and 12 minutes. Ben Hershey, Forward Solutions Group in the house.
Hey, Ben.
Your points here are so key. There are a number of methods of getting to offsite. We need to bring those ideas together no matter where they're coming from, SIPs, components, panelization, modular, to help builders see there are a number of cool processes and improvements that will save them time and money. Builders allow their field labor issues to run their businesses and not allow these offsite factory innovations to provide these improvements to their business. And this is Ben spends his time optimizing manufacturing.
Yeah.
So that's coming from somebody that really knows what he's talking about. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I mean, I can't Sean, I can't argue with that man. He's got much years experience and knowledge, and he's absolutely 100% right.
Yeah.
No, so
He is. Well, Jerry, listen, we want to thank you for having us here, but I got one last question I want you to share with everybody out there. What is your one thing? What is Jerry McCaughey's, and I say McCaughey because I used to get it wrong. He used to beat me up on it all the time. What is your one thing, Jerry?
my one thing, you're asking me a very hard question. My one thing is that in the building industry itself, we put a value. I'll put it another way. It's a long answer to a simple to a question. We all know time is money. No matter what industry you're in, everybody knows time is money.
Yeah.
So when builders are out there trying to figure out whether or not offsite makes sense, the first thing they've got to know is what's the value of a day on site to them. And because when they come and they ask questions about how much does it cost or how much is my real question, Mike, is well, how much is every day on site costing you? Because our process is going to save you time. That's going to save a whole lot of other things. But until you know the value of your time, you really can't make an informed decision. Right? So that's my question. And every builder, and every CEO of every building company should go to their CFO and say, one of our metrics should always be that we have absolutely a defined cost per day on site. Now we can make informed decisions.
You know what? It makes a whole lot of sense. If you don't know how many nails are in your house, maybe you should rethink how you're building your house and look at that. Because if you're a developer, those boxes of nails that get thrown in the corner everywhere add up to a lot of.
All right.
What
What all the stuff that's getting stolen off sites at the moment because of the value of it?
Right.
You know, we say.
Metal to the roof.
Well, I would say if somebody steals one of our wall panels, they deserve it.
Right.
Fire away, guys. What do you know?
I love it. All right, everybody, that is a wrap for us. Please hit that like and share button one more time. And if you are not following Jerry McCaughey or the team in Tekra, you're wrong. You need to be following them. They're doing great things out here. Jerry, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave.
And also
Thank you,
a big
everybody.
thank you to Hundegger.
Absolutely.
Steve Snyder, you're the
you, guys.
man. Thank you for everything you've done for us as well, and allowing us to bring all this wonderful technology and the way forward to the industry. So we'll see you next time. Give him a high salute, Jerry. High salute. There you go. Hey, we'll see you, everybody. Bye now.